it's red. So they told me it'd be a week to 10 days, and I'm a little over a week and a day. So I got a little bit longer.
So even you were on the injury report.
I was on the injury report, but I practiced. Okay. I did not miss. I stepped up. So.
Do you take advantage of having the eye to kind of look at the players when they're maybe not doing something that you want to scare them into doing it?
Well, they kept staring at me, and I finally had to tell them that it is red. You all are right. So that was it. I said at my age, only Sally cares, so the rest nobody else cares how to look. So I'm fine.
I'm at that point too.
Yeah, and it doesn't get better. Let me tell you that too. Practice was really good. It was good yesterday. It was good today. The guys had a lot of energy. We're all excited to go to Blacksburg. It's a great environment, and it's fun. Frank Beamer's a great friend of mine, and I look forward to seeing Frank. And it's fun to go somewhere where it's full, and they got a good team, and people are excited. So we told our team we continue to be able to evaluate where we are and how much progress we've made, and hopefully we took Georgia Tech to a different level with the open date, and then we keep getting better as a team. And we said it's all out there for us, so it's on us to play well and win on the road.
You talk about the opportunity that Coastal is still out there. Is that something you use to motivate your players?
It was Sunday, but we really haven't talked about it much since. We talked about every Sunday you kind of recap where you are. So we told them we put up the records, we put up the standings in the Coastal, we put up the bowls that are out there for us to go to, and then we took it down and said, now you got to play. And we talked to them today about it. It shouldn't be pressure, it should be pleasure. We had a Joe Madden quote that he said he puts that on his card to start lineup before every baseball game with the Cubs. And so I don't want them to feel pressure about the Coastal, and I don't want them to feel pressure about a bowl. I want us to get good. And if you practice really good every day, then you can be a great team at some point. I really like the way our front's playing on defense right now. They played really well at Tech, and they've really done well the last couple of practices here. So I like that. Offensive line's still got to be more consistent. Yesterday they were okay. Today they look better. So, but that lines of scrimmage is where you win games, and we got to get more out of our kicking game. We still haven't had. We've had one kickoff return of significance, and we haven't had anything out of our punt return. So we've got to do a better job in those areas.
I know you obviously practiced last week. You had those 3 practices. Have the guys picked up kind of where they were before Georgia Tech after you kind of challenged them a little bit as far as their preparation, or did you have to do some regenerating?
They have done it themselves this week. We meet every morning at 6:30 before we practice. We have a team meeting. And I saw them walk in today, and I said, you look a little slow walking in. Yesterday you were pumped up. Don't walk out there on that field slow, and stirred them up a little bit. But they've practiced really well. The Tuesday, I think, before Georgia Tech, maybe Wednesday, it was just okay offensively. And right now they're doing well. They're getting after it, and I'm excited about seeing them play.
Mack, you had a tough first 6 weeks. I know you needed the bye week for injury purposes to kind of get healed up. But were the guys, they seem to be refreshed after getting some downtime?
Yes, it's a great point. What we did is we really worked the young ones who, some of them haven't played any and might have a chance to play in 4 games and still redshirt and help us. Some might play the last 6 weeks. So we pushed them to show us what they got. You're not a freshman anymore. You've been here now, some of you since June, so it's time to grow up if you want to play this year. And then the others, we really sprinted them a lot, we ran them a lot, but we didn't hit them. So Crawford's and Strobridge and our backs, those type guys did not get hit. So they should be really, really fresh this week.
And you mentioned putting the standings on the board for the team. A lot of coaches are dead set on the only team we're worried about is the next team. It's one game at a time. Clearly that's your focus, but why the willingness to talk about kind of the big picture with the guys?
Well, in my entire career, but at least here late and all the time at Texas, I wanted to be really honest and fair with the guys. Mm-hmm. So it is what it is. So we can sit around and say it's next game and all that, but they know, they read, they hear. So I wanted them to know, here are facts. Here's what you got. Now, use it to motivate you, forget it, whatever you want with it. We got to beat Virginia Tech or this stuff doesn't work. But I think it's foolish to sit around and act like it's not important. And it is important. And then what I told them this morning was that message of don't put pressure on yourself. If you're good enough, it works. If you're not, play your best. We'll go the next game.
Do you find that when you present them the big picture and they see that something's attainable, it kind of helps with focus? It kind of sharpens the edge a little
Absolutely, especially a team that hasn't been successful over the last 2 years. They're proud. They're really proud that in the middle of the season they're in the mix for something important. And you think about it, at least 2 classes in this team hadn't been to a bowl game. So most of our team hasn't been to a bowl game, much less had a chance to be in the mix for the conference title at midseason. So all that's really positive.
I know you all weren't too happy with Noah Ruggles' missed kick against Georgia Tech. How has he responded in practice?
It's really funny. He missed one yesterday, so I let Jonathan Kim kick first today, and both of them made it. So we're just constantly looking at. I've always said kickers need to make them. I mean that's the important thing. Why kick? And that's one of the reasons when you cross 50, if it's close, I usually go for 4th downs because I can't stand missed kicks. They're such a momentum killer because you're trying to go, you're moving the ball, everything's great, and then you shove it to the right and you lose everything. And that's what happened, I thought. Our first drive at Georgia Tech after the half is so important. We drive right down, we get the penalty with Charlie Heck in the end zone, we come out, then we miss the field goal. If we make the field goal, you're up 20-0. And it sends a great message to Georgia Tech that it's important coming out for the half, and you miss it and it gets them excited. So it's really, really important that we make our kicks and improve our kicking. And the other thing is we only kicked 1 out of the end zone on kickoffs. Michael Rubino's got a sore leg, so he's not kicking as much. But modern day, you need to kick it in the end zone on kickoffs. Most people are. Most people are starting at the 25, and you don't need to give a fast team like Virginia Tech a chance to return kickoffs.
So could you possibly use another kicker?
What we are doing with not Ben Kiernan, because he's been really good, and today he was the best I've ever seen him. But with the kickoff guys and with the extra point field goal guys, we check them every day up until the kickoff. We check them in pregame. And when we decide in the dressing room who's going to kick off, and we decide who's going to do extra point field goals. So it is competition every minute of every day.
Yesterday, Aaron, he didn't get too much into detail, but he was pretty clear that what happened last time at Virginia Tech for them has definitely stuck around. Have you heard much of that this week, or has that been anything that's come up?
I think since I wasn't here, I don't even know what happened last time. So I did see we hadn't done very well up there, but, you know, certain places we hadn't done very well at Tech. So
with how open the Coastal Division is, have you ever seen a division or just a conference this wide open before?
It looks like it's been that way every year because a different team wins the Coastal every year, it seems. And Clemson's obviously dominated the Atlantic, but that's one of the exciting things for us right now, even at this stage in our program, is it's been pretty wide open every year.
Mack, do you have designated staff members on the sideline to watch clock situations and maybe to look at plays that may be questionable, but that maybe you can urge the refs to take a look at?
We do. The thing that I would like to see, and I really feel passionate about this, is that we're seeing enough missed calls in the NFL and in college across the country. I really believe that we should say that the guy upstairs, the replay official, has the right to overturn anything that he sees. They say, well, that's not reviewable. Well, it should be if it's going to lose the game, and the team that plays the best doesn't get a chance to win. So to me, how hard is it to say, call down and say, pick up the flag, that's not a penalty? And it helps us. It takes the human error out of it. And to me, until we do that, we're not going to get it right. And so we've got guys looking at it, but normally I see it, and I got a pretty good feel of what happens. If it's in the far corner like the Diami touchdown at Georgia Tech, and you can't see it, you go upstairs immediately and say, let's look at it. But we always have coaches watching the Jumbotron, and normally they'll replay it, and you know what to do.
Is there a call that's more consistently missed that would kind of help that you would ever find out? Or?
Yeah. The two biggest ones are holding and pass interference. Those are the ones that come up all the time. The other one is fumble. It's just something that, to me, if a guy absolutely grabs a guy and pulls him down, and the guy upstairs sees it, and the guy's stumbling and he misses it, call downstairs and say that's pass interference, and throw the flag. Or like the other night in the pro game, pick it up. Pick it up. It's not a flag. You missed it. And to me, then everybody's better off. And the fight against it is it takes too much time. It really doesn't. If it's clear enough for him to say pick it up, then you don't have to take time. Just say pick it up.
Has losing Jonathan Smith to essentially transferring, how's it affected your linebacker depth, and what players are you thinking? Because he was playing a little bit.
Yes, and he missed the first 2 games, so that's why he wasn't playing more. And Jonathan's a good player. What it's done is it's forced us now to practice all the time with Eugene Asante and with Kadre Jackson. So Kadre was playing some nickel, so he's come back now to true linebacker. So it's really going to help us for the future because those guys will be good and they're getting every snap's work.
Are Jackson and Asante essentially the second team linebackers there?
Yes. And the other thing, the coaches in general, but the defensive coaches are doing an unbelievable job, in my estimation, of double teaching people because we don't have any depth. So you got Dominic Ross that can play both linebackers or outside, and the Sam becomes the nickel if it's a running situation. So he'd be the third linebacker if you move him back in, or those 3 can rotate. And then you've got the 2 young ones. Same thing Jay's put Miles at corner some. He's got Hollins at corner some. So they're just double teaching because it is what it is. And hopefully we won't have to do that next year or the next year. But right now, instead of whining about what we don't have, they're doing a great job of putting those guys in the right places.
Hey guys, if you want to talk to Ronnie, let's get him going.
Anything else?
Bo was telling us yesterday that he keeps his phone with him during games and practice to check his blood sugar. Does that ever catch you off guard? He said sometimes coaches forget about it and they're like, what are you doing with your phone out here?
No, we're you trust your players, and Bo's doing an outstanding job for us. And Coach Longo's got a child with diabetes, so they all talk about it, and I'm amazed at Bo and how far he's come and how well he's done, and his situation's different than others, so it's fine for him to have his phone.